A local celebrity chef is hitting the airwaves on a new podcast, Culinary Characters Unlocked. So I'm joined now by the host and producer of the podcast, David Page, on what you can expect to hear when the episode drops. Welcome, David. Thank you for being here today.
Well, thanks for having me, and I think it's nice of me to show up despite the fact that the Bills beat my favorite Patriots yesterday.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, but go Bills, right?
Yeah, I guess. Well, certainly Darian Bryan is all go Bills. You know, he's a private chef for a bunch of the players.
Yes, he is an amazing chef. I've personally been able to enjoy some of his meals. Let's share more about your new podcast, Culinary Characters Unlocked. What inspired you to start this podcast?
You know, the longer I have been in the food journalism business, and I'm the guy who created Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, the more I've just fallen in love with the people in the business. They're passionate, they're committed, they want to take care of other people. And podcast being the most current form of communication, I started in radio, then I got into TV. I wanted to be part of that. So I've started a podcast where in each episode it's a one-on-one conversation between me and someone I find significant in the world of food. In this case, it's Chef Brian because of what they do. In his case, it's turning Jamaican cuisine into fine dining, as well as the entertaining story of his cooking for Josh Allen, for example, who he says really likes to eat a whole lot. But it's just an opportunity to get behind the kitchen door and let people in on the inside workings and the inside lives of the people who want them to have a good meal.
Absolutely. And what can you share about learning from Chef Darian Bryan? What really impressed you most about him?
Well, you know, his personal story is just fantastic. He grew up in absolute poverty on Brat's Hill in a rural part of Jamaica, Brat's Hill now being the name of his fine dining restaurant in Buffalo. He grew up with no water in the house, no electricity, and talk about a pulling yourself up from your bootstraps story. He moves to the States. He can go live with his mother in San Diego or his sister in Buffalo. He says to himself, I don't know cold weather, so he picked Buffalo. Shows up here with no real training, decides to go to culinary school, gets a job at Denny's. From there, works his way up, and now he owns this fabulous restaurant and a private dining establishment called the Plating Society. I just find his story to be so inspiring. I'm also really, really impressed by what he's managed to do with his menu in terms of taking traditional and relatively food of poverty kind of dishes like oxtail and goat and turning them into white tablecloth fine dining entrees. He does a goat ravioli. He does an oxtail ragu. This is tremendously creative. And also, from a business standpoint, people are worried about whether fine dining can continue in the current economic environment. He brilliantly does lunch as a fast casual place. At lunchtime, there's no waiters. It's basically like a fast food joint that you can sit down and eat at. And I think in finding the balance between, the upper and the lower ends of the financial scale, he's really proven himself to be a very innovative restaurateur.
Yeah, and his jerk chicken. Oh, nothing better. It's so, so good. He's tremendous. I absolutely love Chef Darian Bryan. What else can we expect on your podcast? Other, sort of people that you are having on there, or anything you want to share?
Yeah, if there's anything that interests you about the world of food, I've got the guests for you. This year, 2025, the James Beard Awards gave out 15 competitive awards to chefs. I booked 13 of them. So anything you want to hear about what's new or happening in food, they've got it. The Michelin stars recently came out for the South. I've booked a whole bunch of those folks. In fact, I was just in Charleston, had an amazing meal at a place called Vern's that just picked up a Michelin star. I'm literally in the middle of editing an interview with the wonderful husband and wife who own that place. And it was one of the finest meals of my life. I've also got the biggest names in food who are kind enough to join me and talk about what's coming up what's happening. The most recent podcast, it's still up today, is with Stephanie Wu, the executive editor, the editor in chief of Eater, who's got remarkable things to say about what's coming down the pike in the coming year for all of us who care about what we're eating and where.
All right. Well, thank you, David, so much for joining us today. Again, you can find Chef Darian Bryan's interview on Culinary Characters Unlocked by streaming the podcast on any major podcast platform and YouTube after it drops tomorrow.